Got my logs pushed together. I got the cattail shoots getting roasted right now. This tea is cold enough to drink new. That is refreshing. Not necessarily a super filling supper, but still a nice one. Can't complain with that. Better to be eating something than nothing. But I just thought I'd go over and tell you a bit more about me and how I got into what I do and everything. But the biggest reason why I think I enjoy survival is because to me it seems like the way that we should live. Like, the more simple, whatever that means, that's where I find the most fulfillment and joy. Like, my goal right now is I'm trying to build a homestead up in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. And I've been building my home from scratch. I designed it, I milled the trees, logged the trees, milled the lumber for all of the interior supports and rafters, slab board. And I want to raise my kids in a place where they can be surrounded by the outdoors and learn to love it like I did. Let me see if I can get this fire get a little bit brighter. But I mean, it definitely is a more challenging lifestyle, but it is a lifestyle that I think that you find way more fulfillment in, and you appreciate the little things a lot more. And in the society we live in, everything is about, you know, having the newest car, having the newest phone, you know, keeping up with the Joneses, essentially. And for me, I like when you're out in the woods, it's like, you know, if you cut down a tree and you build a shelter, you come back in 10 years, that tree is rotted and is dirt now. You know, it's not like you have permanently changed something. Nature always heals itself. And what we're doing in society right now is we are creating things that can't even decompose. And it's just crazy to me. So being out in nature really just shows me how I would want to live. You know, like how the animals and everything are in nature. You know, when they die, they don't leave any trace. And that's kind of what I see in it. But put these over here. Oh shoot, lost that one. Oh well. Yeah, I was hoping I'd hear some coyotes, but didn't hear any coyotes last night. They're kind of the biggest thing around here. And honestly, if I see them out here, I'll chase them. The first time I had a run-in with coyotes, that's when I lived up in Battle Creek. And I was about 11 years old. It was an amazing experience. I had gone out on a hike and I had a hatchet with me and a walking stick. And as I was hiking out there, I came across a couple deer, and was pretty close to them. And then I went down into the swamp. I was seeing mallard ducks, a pair of sandhill cranes, and it was just like beautiful. Like the wildlife was all out everywhere. And I was hiking back over the out of the creek bottom back over this hill, and there was a ravine, and as I pop up and I'm looking into the ravine, there was 3 coyotes, a pack of coyotes. And you know, I was a pretty small kid back then, and when I saw them, they were just looking at me, and I was just looking at them. And we stood there for about 10 seconds, and they were only about 30-40 yards away, and we were all just looking at each other. And then I just picked up my hatchet and my walking stick, and just ran at them, and they just bolted out of there. But that was a story to tell when I got home. But yeah, coyotes around here, they can be aggressive, but most of the time they kind of know their place and don't really mess with humans. But people have been killed by them, and they are dangerous. When they're dangerous, mainly is if they get rabies. But if it's a healthy coyote, they're not going to really come after a human. They fear us more than we would need to fear them. There are rattlesnakes around here too, but I have never seen a Michigan rattlesnake except for a baby. And I wouldn't even necessarily say it was one, because somebody just showed it to me and said that was a baby rattlesnake, but I don't know if they knew. But probably the thing in Michigan, in this part of Michigan, that could kill you the quickest would probably be hypothermia or wind or ice storms, because in the spring and in the fall we'll get these ice storms, and if you're out in the woods when an ice storm comes, it'll just make tons of branches fall, because it'll freeze to all of the branches, and then those branches will break off, and that could be extremely dangerous. And if you are in a situation like that, really the best place to be is out in an open field or in a swamp where there's no trees overhead, and shelter yourself there. But the weather is your biggest enemy in this part of Michigan. It can kill quick, and that's why you got to be able to make a fire, make a good shelter. Because that's the most important bit of survival in this area. But so I would say the best part of being alone in nature is the peace and quiet. I mean, here it's hard to get out where you can't hear cars because there's roads everywhere. But if I want to do that, I got to go like 3 hours north. But even just, you know, there's no sound of a TV, there's not the neighbor's dogs barking, There's not doors being shut and open. Out here, it's just the crackle of the fire, the noises of the animals. It's just extremely peaceful to me. I think these cattails are getting pretty close. I'm gonna put them back down here on the bottom rack. I'm gonna grab another log so we might be able to get some flame going in here. Got this fire set up for going to bed, not giving me light. See, if you set two large logs like that beside each other and you have the fire going in the middle, it will burn all night. You might have to push them together and throw in a few small pieces, but they'll just burn, and then as the gap gets bigger, you just push them together. They keep burning. And this wood is actually softwood, but that it's real big, has some moisture in it. It doesn't burn up too fast. There we go, that's a bit better. Now we can actually see. I would say the worst part about being in the woods alone is being alone. You know, I grew up with 8 brothers and sisters, and there was always somebody to hang out with. You know, if you got annoyed with your one brother or sister, you'd go hang out with the other one. And I don't say I get super lonely in the woods, but I know if I was out there for 100 or 200 days or 300 days, I would definitely be lonely. But I think it's something that I could cope with. Oh shoot, another cattail's done. If you've never tried cattail shoots, it's a delicacy. Oh, it should be. Man, those are good. Let me grab another one here. I would say the craziest thing that has happened to me when I've been out in the wilderness is I was up in British Columbia and I was backpacking around Seton Lake, and was going around on the south side of the lake, and I'd already hiked about 4 or 5 miles in, and I'd gotten to a place where it was a gravel slide, and I was hiking across the gravel slide, but the thing was, it was a gravel slide, and then it dropped straight to being a cliff. And it was a 400-foot drop, and then it fell right into Seton Lake. And I was hiking along this gravel slide, and I lost my balance. Well, I didn't lose my balance, I lost my footing. And the rocks all started slipping underneath me, so I was just sliding straight towards this cliff. And I was just grabbing anything I could, and 20 feet from the edge, so I slipped about 30 feet. 20 feet from the edge, there was this little spruce tree that I was able to grab. And when I grabbed onto that thing, I was shaking so bad, and I had to sit there for a minute or two and just calm until I calmed down enough, and then I got on, my all fours and just slowly worked my way up out of that and was able to get out safe. But that was definitely the closest I've come to death in the woods, because if I hadn't grabbed that, I would have gone right over that cliff, and that would have been the end of it. Nobody would have known where to even start looking. And if you drown in the bottom of that lake, chances are they ain't gonna find you anyways. But I would say the largest obstacle that I've had to deal with is the fact that I am dyslexic. So reading and writing has always been something that I struggle with. And because of that, it's affected, schooling. But whatever I have strived to do, I've always been able to do it. Lots of people think, oh, William, why don't you go to college? William, why don't you do this? It's just like, well, those are the dreams that you might have or might have for somebody but for me, I'm living my dream. So it definitely has been a struggle, but I'm actually kind of glad that I am, because if I wasn't, I might have gone after some of those desires that other people thought that I should do, and been peer pressured into it. But obstacles are just opportunities for you to grow your character. So whatever those obstacles are, they're there to help and improve who you are. That peppermint tea is good. Well, I don't think I'm going to get any flame from this fire, but it is hot. It's giving off a lot of heat. It's just kind of hard for you to see from that angle, but nice, good old coal bed in there. I'm going to finish eating my dinner and then go to bed.